can we talk a little bit about Let's Go, Brandon, before we wrap?
Let's go, Brandon.
Let's go, Brandon. So I'm writing a little piece that I'll probably put out in conjunction with this podcast. And my working title of it is The Primal Catharsis of Let's Go, Brandon. And one of the reasons I love this phrase, because, you know, a lot of people on the left are upset about it. They call it juvenile or low class, or like some people, I think it was a Yale.
Like Robert De Niro screaming "fuck Trump" at the Emmys.
Well, that's the other thing.
That they thought was darling. That was, oh God, he's so brave. Oh, thank you, Bobby.
I think it was the Tonys actually that he screamed at.
Yeah, it was the Tonys.
Yeah. And so, you have some saying it's juvenile, it's low class, and then you have some like going way, saying it's akin to a Nazi salute, or it's, ISIS would do something like this, right? And
I mean, and that's what you really saw after this election. That I have found the Democrats' reaction and their media reaction to this election so disturbing. I'm closer to pursuing my theory of trying to take over the Republican Party instead than I've ever been. I'm almost there now. Like I just don't see how I can continue to function within that party. Like I don't want to have anything to do with people like that.
Well, this is what I mean by this is why this Let's Go, Brandon thing is so satisfying. And it's why I love it. Because first of all, it's everything that the left used to be. It's subversive,
right?
It's ironic, it's mass politics, it's grassroots, right? It's chanting,
exactly,
it's screaming.
Like I don't want to be on the side that's freaked out by Let's Go,
why
Brandon.
Would you want to be?
I don't want to be on that side.
Why would you want to be offended by that? Like, why would you want to take offense at that? Let's Go, Brandon, or fuck Joe Biden. First of all, fuck Joe Biden should be something that, like, that phrase should just like heal the country at this point. Like, we should all just unite around the idea of fuck Joe Biden and Let's Go, Brandon. But the reason why I love it so much is because, like, over the past couple months, we on the show here have been covering every development of this infrastructure thing because we had some faith, stupidly, that we might be able to get something done for ordinary people here. We might be able to, okay, even though Joe Biden's a piece of shit, we know that. Even though the Democrats suck, yes, fine. We may have a window here where we can push through something like paid family leave so that we're no longer one of the 8 countries on earth that doesn't provide it. Like, we thought we could do this. And then Jayapal organized this little wing of inside of her caucus to sort of hold out for these things. And they were putting up a little bit of a fight. And we're like, okay, let's, take it easy. Yes, we know these people suck, but, we might be able to push them in a direction where we could get things here. And then, of course, it was only a matter of time before they folded because the lefties in the House are not as ruthless, are not as tough as the moderates, because Joe Manchin doesn't care if he tanks both bills. It doesn't fucking matter to him. And it doesn't matter if the Democrats lose the House and lose the Senate, or if Biden loses in 3 years. It doesn't matter. And so as long as that matters to Jayapal and her caucus, which apparently it does, then you're never going to actually win a standoff against people who don't care, because the people who don't care will sooner just walk away than cave to what you want. And so obviously this was all a giant waste of time, and it was extremely frustrating. And then you have Ro Khanna go on CNN and say that we're going to pass both bills through the House and take a leap of faith that Joe Biden can deliver a yes vote from Manchin and Sinema. After all of this chest pounding, after all of this, we're holding the line, we're holding firm, leave no one behind. After all that, it's, well, we'll take a leap of faith. Joe Biden seems to think he could get Manchin on board. It's like, it's so unbelievable. It's just so maddening. Like, to think that you had any hope.
He's trying to build plausible deniability.
Right, exactly. But it's all such bullshit.
We were just, we had faith in Biden, and
it's all such crap, and it's so complicated because there's so many like psychological maneuvers to all of this, and there's so much inside baseball and so much hardball and so much like intra-party negotiations and jockeying, and it's just like, God damn it. It's like there's a line in a John Patrick Shanley play where a guy says, I got nails in my brain. That's what it is. It's nails in your fucking brain. And then you hear something as pure and as simple and as exciting and as emotionally honest as "Let's go, Brandon." Let's go, Brandon. And it's like, oh, that's like my mantra now. It's like when you get too stressed out about something, when you get like, yes, on the right, it's like this rallying cry where the NASCAR guys get drunk and screaming. For the left, it should be your mantra. It should be your home. It's your safe space. If you find yourself getting all wound up, just breathe in. Let's go, Brandon. Let's go, Brandon. Let's go, Brandon. It's meditative.
That we can unite the country.
It's self-care for leftists is let's go, Brandon. That's really what it is. Just say it to yourself. It's a little squishy ball that you could squeeze, you know, those like stress reliever toys. That's what it is. You know, if you're from this, it's like, George's father, Serenity Now. You could even scream it loud if you want. Let's go, Brandon. You know, I made a meme that I put out for that. Like, that's what this is, because that's what, like, it satisfies an urge to just say fuck all of this shit. Fuck the centrists for, putting their corporate donors first. Fuck the fucking progressives for caving in, and yes, fuck Joe Biden for showing little to no leadership on this issue. Or in the parlance of our times, let's go, Brandon. Right? And that's what's so great about it. Like, it's just it's chicken soup for the soul. And so I love it. I think it's fantastic. And I think, like you said, who wants to be part of this fucking uptight, stick up its ass movement that like gets offended by that?
Right. Exactly. As increasingly, and especially because, we're going to be going into midterms, and then we're going to be going into 2024. And I'm just looking at this and I'm saying, can I really take this ride, even nominally a Democrat? Like, come on, man. Like, maybe I should just take the mask off and just straight out be in the opposition. like, who am I kidding? Like, yes, like economically, and even in a lot of respects, culturally, I'm not with the Republicans either, but I'm not with the Democrats. I guess that just puts me where most Americans are. Most Americans have a pox on both their houses attitude.
Well, yeah, exactly.
I just feel the people who came up with "Let's Go, Brandon" are more reachable than the people who are offended by it. That's really what it comes down to.
Right. No, I mean, I think you're right about
feel like you can sell progressive ideas more easily to people who have the most to gain from it. I mean, pitching higher minimum wage to people in the suburbs, I mean, yeah, they'll nod their heads, but they don't give a fuck about it. They'll
never go to bat for it.
They'll never go to bat for it.
They'll never hold the line on that, to borrow a phrase that we've been using quite a bit.
So because look, if you're a progressive, you're not in the Democratic Party saying this is my home. You're in the Democratic Party saying I need to drag this party to where I am. So why not be a Republican? I mean, it's the same thing, isn't it? You need to drag the Republicans to where you are. At least they don't rig their primaries against their own voters. They might rig it against Democrats, but
and at least they acknowledge certain power dynamics within the society that like transcend what color your skin happens to be. Like Democrats only a real take on that goes back to CRT. If you're white,
you're a class reductionist.
Right.
You're a class reductionist.
But like, and look, it's not like there's a conscious like
that's
class critique.
What they go right to. If you bring up, and I mean, that's right alongside whataboutism. Like, that's become their go-to. If you bring up anything about economics in response to their fucking Dave Chappelle bullshit, you're a class reductionist. Immediately, you're a class reductionist.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, not that there is like a conscious class critique that is prevalent on
the right. What
about
race reductionism?
But
what about gender reductionism?
the very notion of elites versus ordinary people is itself a sort of critique of a certain power imbalance. Now, is is that an easy leap to make from there to like Marxism? Apparently not, right? But it's something. Whereas, yeah, on the Democratic side, and look, it like you said, it's one thing to get one of these like suburban motherfuckers to like nod along. And in my experience, they don't even nod along. People who have listened to us for a long time will recall, because I haven't used this phrase in a while. They give you the cat stare. Like when you're talking to your cat and your cat is looking back at you, not really understanding what you're saying. They know you're talking to them, but they have no idea what you're actually saying or what you want or what you mean. That's the look you get from a moderate Democrat. You talk about the minimum wage, you talk about healthcare, you talk about big banks and everything like that. It's the cat stare. And so with Republicans, you might even get an argument, but at least you're not getting a cat stare. At least they understand what you're saying.
Right.
You know,
they're starting from the right premise that the system is broken
and rigged against the little guy.
Right. At least they're starting there.
Right.
They're not going to sit there and talk to you about, the people who've been lifted out of poverty in the third world.
Right, exactly.
You're never going to get that argument, that counter argument from a Republican.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe wherever you saw it, on YouTube, on Rumble, or on Facebook. We have channels on all three of those platforms. Also, consider helping us create more content by becoming a member at patreon.com/do-dissidents, or on Facebook, where you can become a supporter right through our Facebook page and get bonus content every week, as well as call-in access to our live stream shows. Thank you very much for your continued support.